Hey friends, so we're back. We're gonna work on the roof of our building. That last video is very long, so this one will be shorter. We're mostly done with our image, and we're gonna kind of scroll up and look back over to the end. And yeah, we're not too far along. Need to make sort of the roof, chimney, and we're gonna make this nice, great, sunny cloud. Well, not so sunny. So we're gonna go and we're going to create our chimney. And actually this brings us back to the beginning of the text. Page 88. Now previously we have locked our window layers. So we're gonna go our board 1. Lost my layers. And we're just gonna unlock those keys right there. I'm just gonna Command plus to zoom in. And we have our shape here, our original window shape. I can tell by looking at our Windows layer in our Windows panel. I'm gonna hold down Option and drag up. And voila, we have copied that shape. We're going to resize it so it's approximately 3/4 of an inch. Actually, I'm going to use our selection tool, we're not direct selection tool, and take it down to 3/4, 0.75. And we're actually going to move it all the way to the edge. So it's moved all the way to the edge. And a little fireplace would be going down here. And we need to make the top part for a chimney because it's not just a straight chute. It's got to have a little ledge to it aesthetically. So we're going to create a rounded rectangle. So I want to make sure your smart guides are on for our next step when we do our rounded rectangles. So edge to edge of our shape, and we want it to probably be 0.14 for the height, so we're going to make it itsy bitsy. Don't worry about the radius, we can adjust that later. Using our selection tool, we're going to move it up where the top, where it says intersect, so it's nice in the middle, and we're going to grow this out. Now I can kind of move it to the left, a little to the right, but we can hold down our Option key as we drag out to make our width 0.9, and it grows it equally on both sides. Pretty cool. And we're going to actually change this color to a light gray and make sure it's selected with 20K. Cool. Now we're going to actually jump all the way in to adding the brick pattern from what we downloaded in our download folder for this. So we're actually on page 110. There's a few other steps about drawing inside, but what we're going to do is we're around step 1 in the center of the page, and we're going to File, Open Pieces.ai. Oh, and it's right there. I'm going to click Open, and we have it right there. We're going to click Select right here, the selection tool, and we're going to edit copy. I'm actually going to do a Command C just to copy, keyboard shortcuts. And we're going to go back to here. Now with our selection tool, before we do anything, we're going to go to the click Draw Inside. So we're in our panels, right here, Draw Inside. And we're going to make sure that's selected. And you can see it's darker now, so the draw inside is selected. And we're going to click on the white chimney right there. And we are going to paste, Command V. Actually, it pasted on the top, so we're going to just undo. Make sure our selection. Okay, so it doesn't want to do that, so we want to there we go. So since I had the top part of the chimney paste selected for the paste inside, that's what it did there. So that way when we pasted, it pasted in there in our functions. Now what we can do is we can kind of drag this around to make it fit. So we're going to press Shift Option when we're on our Mac. If you're PC, Shift Alt. And you're going to drag the upper middle bounding box to kind of make the pattern smaller. And see, it's kind of proportionate. And make those bricks nice and smaller. We're going to go click back to Draw Normal. File S to save. And look, we have a chimney. Cool. We're actually going to go all the way to the back, to the front. And it seems like we're jumping around, but we're building the house the way it should be, as opposed to going from building part of the roof, leaving it, returning to the roof, leaving it, and then back to the roof. It will make more sense because then once you've learned, let's say you've already learned Draw Inside, you can apply that to the next part of the section. So you're learning things and applying them better in this way. So we're going to go back to the beginning of the text. And we are on page 91 under creating polygons. So we're going to zoom in. And nest that back in there. And we're going to go to our polygon tool. Now if we draw a polygon, poly is mini shape, poly, mini, gon, shape. And we're going to go down to make a triangle. We're going to hold down Shift, and we're going to make our triangle with a width of 3.5, and we're not releasing the Shift key. And let's make it nice and equal as we're holding down that Shift key. 3.5 for that width. Don't worry about the height. Close enough. We're going to actually move this over. And we're going to actually move it to a little over the ledge right there. And we're going to make this color of our triangle a nice light gray, 20K. Now your bounding box might be a little off like mine. For some reason, mine doesn't want to draw it correct. You can take from the bottom and try to make it smaller there. But it's kind of hard to get it back to where it needs to be because we want the height to be 1.7. We want to make this a small little triangle. So what I can do is try to rearrange it there, but it doesn't want to do it. I kind of want to constrain proportions too. So I'm going to hit Transform, keep my width 3.5, and my height 1.7. Not Q.7. Now it's made it nice and short. It's actually reset my bounding box. And there, cool. It's my dog saying hi in the back. If you can hear him barking, I know I can. And what we're going to do is actually, before we do our next step, which is building the other one, is we're going to play around with the stroke. So the first part of our roof will be finished. So while this is selected, we're going to hit the stroke right up here, yellow, in our control panel. And we're going to take the stroke actually to 10 points. nice big stroke. And there's different stroke options where you can cap it to be rounded. Different options you can do with how you want your stroke to appear. But we're going to do a line stroke to inside and then the corners to normal. So a nice kind of boxy look. And we're going to make this actually a darker color. So it's 20, we're going to make it to 30. The book doesn't have a specific color it would like it to be. It just says a darker gray. And this is on page 94. So we have made the first part of our roof. Now we're back on page 92. We have to have that larger kind of roof part. So we're going to go back to our polygon. And our next triangle, we're going to do a draw behind. So in our tools panel, we're going to click on this draw behind right here. So the next thing we create is going to be draw behind the original shape we just created. Typically, whatever shape we draw is on the top of the stack, and it keeps going on top. This is going to change the mode to everything we draw. It's going to be underneath the thing we previously drew. So we're going to draw a triangle. I'm sorry about my dog. There must be someone outside and it's bothering him. And we're going to make a much larger triangle that doesn't really have an exact size. So we're just going to draw a nice big triangle. And we're going to actually change the stroke to none. And we're going to make it a nice 50. Now I'm just going to move this second one right here. And we're just going to keep it nice and big. Maybe I'm going to make my triangle a little bit wider. Because it doesn't matter, because that top is going to get chopped off. Just nudge it a little bit over. Like so. Because we're going to chop the top part of that triangle off. Now, jumping around. And actually, I mean, you can play around with the size of your triangle. However you want your house to look. Now remember, it's going to look like this. So we're going to put a stroke back on because I forgot I had a stroke. And that's why I always keep the picture in the back so you can always double check. So we're going to make sure we're actually draw normal now because we've already drove behind. And we're going to go back to Pathfinder. So we're going to go to View, Pathfinder. We're going to pull up M for our rectangle tool, and we're going to draw a nice rectangle. Right there. Now while it's selected, we're going to hold down Shift and select that big triangle. And we're going to do minus front. Cool. We may have to rearrange our layers so that our little triangle is up front. So now you can see we have a roof to our home. Looking pretty good. We're going to do a Command S. And in our next video, we're going to focus on doing an image trace and building the outside of our home. See you next time.